I want to redeem the idea of prejudice that plays out in this film. I think you go all the way back to Blade Runner and all the way back to, I think, Aliens with Bishop. And there's an obvious parallel of racism that should be looked at. It's like, okay, wait, when we talk about the artificial man in these stories, usually we're talking about those we think are lesser in real life. So that would be people of different skin color or ethnic background or even classism and other things like that. And so there's an obvious parallel of racism, even more obvious in this movie by having David Johnson play the role. Maybe a little on the nose, just okay, that we'll have the black character be the one that is the artificial one that's literally being scorned by other characters and looked down upon as less than. And I might have gone the other way and mixed it up, and instead of going with the obvious visual, but Deuteronomy says no partiality. God shows no partiality. Romans says there's no favoritism with God. We're not allowed to show favoritism, partiality, or prejudice for any reason with humans. And at the same time, what's interesting is in the 80s when we were having these conversations, nobody was really seriously thinking, wow, I'm going to have to deal with this in terms of real AI in a few years. And now, 2024, I think people are starting to get confused. I think we have to differentiate between what God has made and what man has made, no matter what level of seeming awareness an AI might have, was made in the image of God. And in one sense, then, the choice in the movie for Rain to go back and risk everyone left, potentially, for Andy, well, honestly, that's more like Star-Lord going back for his Zune, right? That's, as a metaphor for human prejudice, Andy's an important rescue and important to the narrative. But I think in the most literal sense, I would want to differentiate and say, well, in real life, that's like going back for your teddy bear. Like Ripley going back for Jonesy, the cat in Alien, is more understandable, and certainly Newt, without a doubt. So I think it's a redeemable idea as a metaphor, but maybe in 2024, a dangerous way to start thinking about AI in reality. What happens when we start actually thinking about, well, I need to jeopardize my life or put other people maybe in danger to go try to rescue my artificial intelligence? Well, I don't see biblically where that's ever going to get to a place where I wouldn't reject that. Say, no, the Andys must be left behind in real life for the sake of men or women. Does that make sense, or am I missing something in between the lines in the movie?
Yeah,
no, that's really helpful, James. Actually, because I was thinking about that. How do we kind of process these AI characters? As a metaphor, you can see it that way. But would we recognize a robot as being made in the image of God? Biblically, I don't think so. But equally, like, I was thinking about this the other day, like, would it be wrong to torture a robot? I believe it would, just because it would embed in us, very unhealthy patterns. So, like, if there was a really realistic robot, the idea of delighting in inflicting pain on that robot, even though it's not actually a person,
Truth.
Still, that's immoral. So when he gets bullied in the film, you're like, actually, no. So we shouldn't abuse our robots, but equally, we shouldn't view them in the same way that we view humans. So be careful how you talk to Alexa is what I'd say, because it might end up having an impact on how you talk to people in general.
Well, I think we kind of talked about it in the podcast.
Good.
So that's kind of my short rundown of those ones.
Well, maybe Thomas can bring it home then. Got anything to end on?
Well, I just have a quick reject and a quick redeem. So a reject is the idea of using, you've kind of touched on this already, but the idea of using chemicals or technology to upgrade humanity. I mean, obviously there is common grace, and it's wonderful that things like medicines.
We hope you enjoyed this snack-sized taste of Popcorn Theology. Check out the full episode using the link in the description. Subscribe on YouTube for more content. Follow and interact on social media to share with others. And remember, you are not a mindless consumer.